Hi, distance learning students. Mrs. Gaunt here with week 3 stuff. And I have the Schoology page open in front of us, and there's two things I want to show you. First of all is this support chat, which is a discussion page. I was talking to Mr. Johnson, and I think he has one on his page. Maybe Mr. Compton has one too. But this is just a place where you guys can share information with each other, and it's nice because then it's not 30 people asking a question, waiting for an individual response from the teacher. We can answer the question so everyone can see it. And you don't even have to wait for me to answer it. Maybe one of you guys knows the answer and you can post the answer for your classmates as well. So that'll be up there for anyone to use. Just please use it appropriately. Secondly, I want to show you folder 3, which has 3 things in it right now. It'll have the 4th thing in it after I'm done with this video. That will go here too. It'll say a video message from your teacher. And then there's the Nearpod lesson for week 3 with the link to it and the code that goes along with it. I think they have fixed the problem with having too many students for one link. But if you get that message again, let me know right away, and I will get it fixed. Secondly, we have the podcast assignment, and I'm going to click on that because it's a little bit different than it was in the past couple of weeks. We're getting to the point where I'm going to let you start choosing the podcasts that you listen to. And so to kind of get us closer to that, I've given you a choice of 2 different podcasts. Wow in the World is kind of geared toward a younger audience, but you may still really like it and find that it's fun. The science is great. It's a couple of people pretending that they're time travelers and they can go in the WOW machine to go back in time to see things. It's interesting and it's a fun thing to listen to. So you can choose Wow in the World for an episode called An Elevator to the Stars. Or if you're looking for something a little more sophisticated, you could choose one called Curious Minds and listen to an episode about listening, about how our brains are engaged in listening. Either way, whichever one you choose, you're going to fill out the same podcast summary form. Just make sure you tell me when it asks you the name of your podcast, tell me if you listen to Wow in the World or Curious Minds. Okay, I think, one more thing back in our folder. Let me go back there. Okay, let me go back one more step so it looks the same all the time. Okay. Down at the bottom of the contents in our folder, open. Okay, there you'll see that there's an ecology test. When I get to OneNote, I'm going to talk about a little bit of review that you can do for the ecology test. This ecology test covers the material that we covered in week 2. So if you're studying for it, I should say, when you study for it, you should look at your notes section in OneNote for week 2. Okay, the test won't be open for you until Tuesday, and I want everybody to take it on Tuesday. I'm going to close it at the end of the day on Tuesday, and I'm going to be picky about who I let see it after that. We got to get in the frame of mind where you are taking the tests on the days that I say we're taking the tests. Okay? All right. Enough of that. Let's move over to OneNote. We'll see what it looks like for you guys. Let me get to your class stuff. All right. So week 3. All right, so I just told you about the test that you're going to take, and I put in your week 3 materials a page called Refresh Your Memory. And this has some pictures and some questions that'll help prepare you for Tuesday's test. So you can do those anytime. You don't have to watch a Nearpod or anything. It's just review from week 2. So this would be a great thing to start with. Then you have your graph analysis, which is unrelated to our topic. But again, you can click and drag that open farther because these numbers are pretty small. It's asking you questions about what does the x-axis of the graph represent? What does the y-axis represent? I've had some students in the past say that the x-axis represents x and the y-axis represents y, and that's not true. If we look at the graph, let me open it a little bit bigger so you can see it. And I'm going to drag it bigger. Whoa, not that big. I'm using a loaner computer again, and man, I hate those things. If you make it bigger, you can see that the numbers along the x-axis, and the x-axis is the horizontal part. So you can see that the numbers along the x-axis say 1900, 1920, 1940, 1960, 1980, 2000, 2000, I think it's 10. Maybe it's 20. I think it's 10. And then up here it says 20th century average, and it's pointing to that black line. So now you have to be thinking, oh, it's talking about 20th century average. Are we in the 20th century right now? No, we're not. We're in the 21st century. So the 20th century was the 1900s. So those are clues that will help you figure out what the heck these numbers mean on the bottom. That's the kind of reasoning you have to do to answer this question. The answer is just not X, and I'm not going to be given credit for students who put answers like that going forward. All right. So there's your graph. The notes section is similar to last week, where you have to look at the Nearpod, and when you get to the end of the Nearpod, there will be 3 slides that have, it might be 2, that have information that you copy from the Nearpod and put it here in your OneNote. This is where you will go back to review when you're ready to take your test for the next one. All right, processing activity 1. In this time, we are using a gizmo. I'm sure you did gizmos at IJ. If you haven't, they're fun little interactive software tools, and you walk through this worksheet that tells you what to do. It tells you to drag the thermometer to the pond at 6 a.m. So there's a little clock on the gizmo. You have to make sure it says 6 a.m. and then you drag the thermometer and stick it in the water and read the temperature that it shows. So you have to read the instructions and do what it says to do as you go along. Make sure you're looking at where it says get the gizmo ready also, because you might have to reset the gizmo from your previous activity to make it happen next. All right, but to log into the to Explore Learning to do the gizmo, those are the instructions up here. This is a link you can click to go to the correct page, and there's a place for you to click where it says log in, and you're supposed to put your username and password in. So you might be wondering, hey, what's my username and password? Well, I have put a page over here, depending on which notebook you're in. You'll be able to click on the Gizmo usernames and passwords and scroll down until you find your name, and then the third column is your username, the fourth column is your password. All right, it shouldn't ask you for a class code. I think by putting your username and password in, it should take you to exactly the right place. But if it does ask you for a code, here it is. Also, you might be wondering how you're going to fill this out. You're just going to type right on top of the page with your answers. Okay, that's processing activity 1. Process activity 2, after you watch the Nearpod and you've taken your notes, you're going to realize that there are 5 relationships within a community that we're focusing on at the second half of the Nearpod. So your assignment for processing activity 2 will be to take a walk where you can look for examples of those relationships. I want you to take a picture of them and paste the picture into the boxes on this page. So there's 5 relationships, and it might be hard to find all 5 on your walk. So my note up here at the top says 3 of your 5 pictures have to be from your walk. The other 2 can be pictures you've taken from the internet. Only 2 can be pictures from the internet. All right, and then back down here at the bottom we have the checklist as usual. All right, that's it, guys. I think this is going to be a good week for you. I did grade your work this week, and there were a lot of people who aren't doing work in OneNote. So if you don't know what to do, I mean, this is our 3rd week, and I've had this on the videos every week, and there's been videos in our Schoology about how to set it up and stuff. But I'm here to help you. But you have to get this done. Most of your work and most of your grade comes from OneNote, so you can't ignore it. All right, so I'll be looking to hear from you guys if you're having trouble with that. Otherwise, have a great week. Study for that test before Tuesday, and then we'll see you around. See you in your pod meetings. Don't forget.